This is part two of this podcast where we're talking about beginning dog showing. If you didn't catch part one, it was last week. Go back and catch part one of this episode. And this is part two where we finish our conversation about beginning dog showing. Please enjoy the show.
So that's kind of a little
On
kudu,
something like
for
that,
doing that.
I've never had my ID checked. So is it something where like how do they verify that the person in the ring is actually the same person? Or is it just honor system? Okay,
I
that'd be
can tell
great.
you, your competence will
Yeah,
turn you
okay.
in. Yeah, that that 26-year-old blonde woman is not
It's
Tyson
it's it's
Wald.
they
That's
police, and so what you're saying is
oh
everybody that's at the show showing, we're just going to talk Japanese chin. They know who owns the dogs most likely and who the
they know
people are. So
they do. They got the catalog in their hand. They go, that ain't that, So I mean, yeah, you're gonna. I mean, to have people shown dogs in classes and not gotten caught? Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, yeah, it happens. Probably every show. But if you win and your competition sees you won in a class that you were not eligible for, they will file a complaint and you will lose those points if you are not eligible. That's what the whole reserve part is for. So, is that who gets the points when you lose them because you made a mistake. So then there's also the amateur owner handler class. I have never exhibited in that. That class came along long after I was involved in showing. And I guess in horses, the amateur status applies to they'll say that to the handler, not to but the dog. It's supposed to be people that have not won or done whatever. I'm not even very clear on those. What you have to read and see what the qualifications to be an amateur owner handler. I would say it's a lot of money to go to shows. It's a lot of work. By the time you're willing to hop in your car, drive, enter, do all that, I would really try hard to be in one of those other classes. I mean, as a judge, I have awarded dogs from the amateur owner handler class. I mean, I have given major wins to dogs from my amateur owner class because I like the dog, But I don't think it's a benefit. I think you want to kind of go, if you kind of want to like go and say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, have no clue, and have never won anything ever. If that's what you're going for, well, that's the class for you. But, you know, have your stuff together. I don't think that there's any. I don't see a huge benefit of that class. And one thing like in dog shows, if you don't know how to do your entries right, you can enter multiple classes. That's usually someone who doesn't know what they're doing. So you can enter on the same day for a club if they offer a sweepstakes or if they offer whatever, but don't enter multiple classes. You can't, if you start showing in multiple classes, if you get defeated in any of the classes, you're ineligible to win points. So if you pay 3 entry fees and enter 3 classes and you lose the class in any one of the 3, you're knocked out.
So would that
So
be like
there is
saying I
absolutely
entered 6 to 9 month, entered open, and entered American bred? Is that what you're saying?
yes, and people sometimes do it. I think it's usually a mistake, but that means they would have to win 6 to 9. They have to win American bred
It's
and they
probably an
have to
easy
win open.
mistake to make because I'm sure you're going to talk about this in
It
a
is.
second. When you want to enter national owner handler, you do have to check a second box. So you're checking 2 things there.
You have to
So
check.
talk about that.
And you really need, this is one thing you have to check the box to make sure so that you get the asterisk on it. And then after you submit your entry, take a moment, proof it, stop, read it. This is how I was entering Arkansas and accidentally entered Anchorage, Alaska. Not taking a moment and seeing that the drop down box, it went from, AR to AK, I mean, so pay attention to that. And then you're going to get a confirmation email back from like within pretty soon from the superintendent. Open it up, read it, make sure that you're entered in the right show, in the right class, because at this time you can change it. You can fix it. When you are standing ringside, you're in trouble if it's wrong. You've just like wasted all that effort and that money. But if you like take a moment, read that entry before, right there, man, it's just like to call the nice ladies at Onofreo and say, I was meant to enter this. I accidentally did that. And they'll go ahead and say, send us an email, tell us you want to move. And they'll go, okay, no problem. But otherwise, if you want to do a correction or all that, you have to do that before the show starts, and you have to do a form and all that. And it's a whole another layer of that, right? So you want to be certain on that.
Generally pretty easy to make changes if you mess up. But again, like I mentioned earlier, they're all, everyone that I've dealt with, clunky website could be done so much better. But they're not in the website business. They're in the business of dog showing and being the superintendent. So you can make mistakes. I know, like, I'll find a show on the list of like upcoming shows. Find the show, you hit enter. It just takes you to a generic site. You didn't enter that show. You go to a generic site. You have to repick that show again. It pops up the whole list of all the shows coming up, and you have to scroll and find that show, and then pick that class, and then you have to confirm. It's clunky, not the most intuitive system, but if you take your time and you pay attention to what you're doing, it's really not that bad. And like you said, you get confirmation email. Generally, I seem to get them at like 7 o'clock the next morning after I enter. And I have had to make changes
Mhm.
before. I noticed something like, oh, I meant to enter owner handler in that one and I didn't. Can I change it? And I just emailed and asked them, and they just handled it for me from there. So that was really nice and fantastic. Do you want to talk about, well, A, if there's any more classes that we didn't talk about, and then B, if there's not, or if there is even after you explain them, owner handler?
Well, so those classes, they're going to have all of those classes, and the winners of all of those classes go in to compete for what they call winner's dog. That'll be the first set of points given. And then if there's a second place dog from the class that the winner's dog came from, that dog is eligible to go back in and compete for reserve. So if I went second to Tyson, but he didn't see that his dog had changed puppy classes and he didn't get it fixed. Well, voila, my dog's getting the points because I just went reserve to him, and they're going to go and take it away. So that's what reserve is. That's first one runner up, kind of like Miss America, where they find out that there's a sex tape floating around, and then we're going to take her crown away.
You
So
had to go to sex tape. You
the
couldn't do like drugs or something like that.
exactly. Now that's probably what you would need to do to get into Miss America. But but they're going to do the whole process all over again for the females. So they're going to get the winner's dog and the winner's bitch, and then they're all going to go in for best of breed. Okay, that's the dog. They're going to pick out which one goes to group, and that's when they're going to go ahead and have. That's where they're going to pick the best of breed winner. They're going to pick the best of opposite sex to the breed winner. And those are the two things that, in 4 to 6 puppies, they just have breed and opposite. But they're also going to they're going to look at the winner's dog and the winner's bitch and say which one of those is the better. And that is going to get best of winners. And that's where they can get the matching points. So if there's only like no points in girls, but a major in boys, and they say, but the girl is better, then she gets best of winners. Well, then she'll get matching points. Kind of a magic thing there. That's kind of a cool thing. And then they're going to do the selects, and they're going to see the selects are going for grand championship points. So that you might not win breed or opposite, but you could get select dog or bitch, either or, and get majors towards your grand championship. Very cool. And then, but if you have checked the owner handler box, stick around, because if one of the other, if it's they're going to go ahead and after they've done the awards, they're going to say who's owner handler eligible for the owner handler group. If it's best of breed, that's automatic. But after best of breed, then everybody's in play. and they're going to say who's eligible, and then what they've won, and then they can go from there. And they might do a runoff to see who gets owner handler, who's going to get that ribbon. So it's going to go breed, best of winners, best of opposite, select male, select female, and owner handler is going to fall in there somewhere, or maybe be another whole dog another game. But it could be 6 awards.
Is that the order that it goes into? Is that the order?
Always, always.
So
Best of
best
breeds
of
first.
winners, is that technically more prestigious than best of opposite sex if it's the second one picked?
Okay, the only two dogs. Good question. The only two dogs that are in play for best of winners are the winner's dog and the winner's fit. Those are the only two. None of the champions are eligible for that award. That is just a separate competition for the non-champion dogs that day. So that's really that's not eligible. Now, winners female, say hypothetically speaking, say that the best of breed's a male, and there's female champions competing. The non-champion female winners bitch, she can get best of winners over the champions. That happens all the time. Add to her points. She can beat them. Because those class animals, they can win the best of breed, and those champions can count towards their points. So you might only have 1 or 2 points in the classes, but you can go in there and drown out a couple of champions, and you might make it into a major. I know this weekend I put a Pomeranian that was a non-champion class dog all the way to best of breed, and he ended up with a big major because of that. So everybody's
So
eligible
let's
for
say
that.
now we're talking about point schedules, and maybe that's a whole nother episode because points can get
That might be a whole other.
confusing.
Yeah.
But if I have a class bitch that goes into breed ring and there's a champion bitch in the breed ring, and I win, say a male wins best of breed, I win as a class bitch, best of opposite sex. Do I get a point for beating that champion dog or that champion bitch then?
Betcha.
All right.
You
Makes
got
sense.
it.
So
You beat
the
him.
points can
You
be
beat him.
very confusing, and
That's the whole thing, and there's a flow chart you can get off of AKC, and it kind of breaks it down, kind of like this goes this, but that's part of those awards, and there sometimes when you read your premium list, they'll offer all the awards and the prizes are listed in there as to what you get. You might get a new champion ribbon or this other stuff. What were you saying beforehand? You were wanting to talk about?
maybe the owner handler a little bit more, like
Oh,
a little bit deeper, like what's it mean, and what is you said generally if you're an owner handler and you win breed, you're gonna win owner handler, but what does it mean? Nat, a lot of it, you see it like the second checkbox. So you check if you want to enter owner handler. Obviously, you have to be the owner of the dog, and you have to be the one showing the dog. So close to bred by, except you don't have to be the breeder of the dog. You just have to own it and be in the ring handling it. Where does it go
right.
from there? What happens from there? Is there big picture? There's a
So
show that
so
if you get into a top 20 for that, right? I mean, talk about that a little bit.
absolutely. So I'm going to do a little not very humble brag right now. A dog that I bred and Finishers Championship I gave to a friend of mine, and he is the number one dog all breeds owner handler, which is super cool. So a lot of times when we're showing dogs, especially showing champion dogs, we're showing for what we call rankings, and they'll have like each breed. They'll do the top 20 of each breed, and they'll have males and females of how who's ranked and whatnot. And so some of those rankings and campaigns can be super high dollar. I mean, that can be a lot of money. That's where they have professional handlers and big money, and they can have celebrities involved and celebrity dog people and all that, and they can be a lot, those, and that might be unobtainable for the average person to say. At one time, the Firestone tire lady, she showed German Shepherds, you know. I mean, so you may not have Mrs. Firestone's money, but you might have a nice dog and you want to show it. Well, you can show it an owner handler, and you can rank your dog in your breed, qualify for uh, going to Orlando for the National Owner Handler. They have their little Super Bowl down there. You can qualify for that. Very cool. I got to judge down there the owner handler for Toy Group last year. It was very fun. Excellent dogs and great handlers. But it's like you can do that on a whole different budget. You can do this, you can do it yourself, which is pretty cool in itself. You know, you can go and show your dog and get your levels of grand championship that you can compete with, but you can also compete for owner handler. And some of these owner handlers are really good. And but it just and a lot of times people will walk out of the owner handler group and the right from the other group, and they can win and place in both. You know, that happens a lot. You know, a lot of the big the winners can be shown by owners, which I think is super cool. And but owner handler is a great place to kind of practice and hone in. And you might not beat the go best of breed and all that, but you still qualify to go in there and show with the other owners, and you can really kind of hone your craft. It's a very great program, and extremely popular, I think,
Yeah, I
nowadays.
think it's getting more and more popular, it seems like. And for me, it's a pride thing. It's a, as somebody new, and if you're doing the showing yourself and you own the dog, I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that. In my mind, it's just another proud moment to say of like, I own the dog, I'm doing all the showing of the dog. And so, I'm doing everything the same as bred by. If I breed a dog that I'm going to show and want to win with a show dog that like I want to be inbred by, because I want all the accolades and feel good moments I get. Because let's be honest, you get a lot more no's and a lot more losses in this sport than you get wins. So any opportunity that you have to get a feel good moment and a win is an opportunity to just warm your heart a little bit. So I promote all of that for everybody, especially new people.
Right. I mean, I can tell you that when Jane and I started showing, and we had a hard breed, we were in a hard area, and we showed 2 calendar years, and we never won a point, not one. And so I mean, you either get good or you get out, I mean, and I think as though a lot of people probably, had there been owner handler, where we weren't having to show against paid professionals, because it is the only sport where paid professionals and amateur owner handlers all competing for the same thing. So, that which is cool and sometimes cruel, all at the same time. But the owner handler aspect kind of levels the playing field a little bit, where those aren't probably highly promoted top dollar dogs that are people are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a year
Well, and
campaigning.
that goes both ways too, right? Because sometimes there's uh not only are you an amateur handler, maybe going up against a professional handler, but a lot of times the professional handlers have very expensive high end dogs where the owner of the dog has put tons and tons of money and resources towards honing the breed or towards this champion dog, as to where a lot of times amateurs, it could be something where you're just starting out and you're building your kennel and your breed, and maybe you bought a puppy from somebody and you want to go show it and just get in. Well, your dog might not be up to the level of a lot of these best in show or best of breed winners either, but you still get to be in the same ring with them pending age. But if you get to the breed ring, you get to be in the same ring as a lot of these huge dogs that are being campaigned out there. So you do have where you got professionals versus amateurs, and money in dogs, and people with unlimited amount of money versus somebody where it might have just spent their life savings to buy a puppy and they want to get into dog showing. So you're all kind of on the equal playing field, which, like you said, can be really cool, but can kind of
Absolutely.
be a pain in the butt sometimes too, when you feel like your dog was really good, but maybe you got out handled and you didn't win because of that, because of the handler aspect.
Yeah, no, I don't. Winning and losing, of course, is we always want to win. Everybody wants to win, but when you feel like you've done your very best and the dog's done their best, and you just like you brought your A game and you still didn't win, yeah, there's no shame in that. But I'll tell you one thing: the owners and the breeder owners, there is one magic quality that we have over everybody else showing, and that that no matter who they are or how famous or how whatever, we know our dogs. We know them. We live with them. They know us. We have the advantage. It's like, maybe I didn't show 18 dogs today, professional handler string. I brought one dog. I know, I made sure he went potty before he made it to the ring. I know exactly what shampoo works good on his coat. I know what he likes for a snack or a treat. I know what lead works on him best. I know what time he went to bed and I know what time he got up. I made sure that he had his best day. And so that's kind of a little perk, a little superpower that the owner handler and the breeder owner handler, and like I'll know the faults of my dog, and I know how to work around them. I know it's like, okay, maybe my dog doesn't have this quality or that quality, but he has this, and we're going to work on showing this, and we're going to cover this up because you know your dog, and so that is a kind of a superpower in a way that you really can do a good job with
It
your
really is, and
dog.
I have firsthand experience on that. So, just a quick story: I got a dog and entered him into a dog show 2 weeks after I got him, and it was a nightmare in the first show because I didn't know enough about the dog. I didn't know how he liked to do it. I was taking my normal routine from my other dogs, implementing it with this dog. He didn't show very well. Next day, I changed the routine that we did to try to fit what I thought he needed. He showed so much better. I have dogs that need to be out of the trolley or their kennel, whatever you're showing up to the show with, however you transport your dog to the show. We have a trolley that holds 4 dogs. I have a dog that needs to be out first thing when we get to the show and burn her energy off because she's unlimited energy. Otherwise, she's going to be so spazzy in the ring, I won't be able to get her to focus. I have another dog that I can't pull him out unless it's 2 minutes before we enter the ring because he'll get tired and lazy before we get in the ring, and then he won't show well. So there's that aspect of knowing your dog and getting to spend time and see how they show, and you learn that through practice. You learn that through beginner puppy classes. You learn that through just going to shows and showing. But there's also the aspect of their behavior, like you said on the lead. Generally, I like to use super light leads. I got a dog that likes to spin, you know. Well, what happens when a dog is spinning is the lead starts spinning and starts tightening up around their neck, and before you know it, you're choking your dog out with a lead, or it's just a twisted nightmare in your hand. So all of those reasons are super beneficial to know your dog, and you get a lot of that from the owner handler.
You get the lead with the swivel lead. You get the swivel with the little fishing lure thing in there that spins. As it's spinning, it doesn't make macrame. Yeah, all of that. Because you know your dog, and you know what kind of lead he likes, and you get used to your stuff. That's like, I I mean, I showed dogs for other people for 18 years, and the thing that would always just make me cringe is when they'd say, "We'll meet you at the show and you can show it." And I'm like, "Oh God." Like, please like me. Please like me. Please,
Don't be
be
shy and take a
happy
day to
to
get to
do
know
this.
me because I got an hour.
Don't be Yeah, don't hit the stranger danger button, all of that, I mean, it's a great dog that can do that, walk up and just show for anybody, but it's you've got something on there when you know your partner and you know your ride, you've got a much better shot because what buttons to push or to avoid, but
So that's
absolutely.
kind of the overview of actually being at the show or signing up for a show, the different classes that you can register for, and the experience that you get at a show. There's a lot of, I think, rights and wrongs to do at a show, but there's a lot of experimenting and figure it out. There's your general general guidelines, your side rails, when you're driving, you got the side rails to keep you on the road, but there's different ways to be on the road. And I think that's the same way with dog showing. But we started this episode and we started talking about different types of shows, and I kind of want to hit on that a little bit. So we have we're all breeds, where all breeds can go to this show. It's an AKC confirmation show. They judge all breeds. But what other types of confirmation shows are there? I know we have we've talked about national specialties, but there's also like parent groups. There's breed specific groups. So our shows. So let's talk about the different types of shows, and then maybe we'll wrap it up with I want to talk about finding your best bang for your buck when you're looking for shows. So, talk to me a little bit about the different types of shows that people are going to run across.
Okay, so we really kind of want to like figure out what your goal is, and because like they do, like we just said, they have specialty shows, and one thing, just read that premium list. How your weekend's going to go, your whole event, your trip, it's all there. And that is, read it and know the rules, because it's easy to follow the rules once you know the rules, and it's easy to make the plans. So you go ahead, and that's also going to tell you the classes and whether or not you want it. If it's a specialty show, which is a specialty show, is only one breed, and so that is it'll be just Japanese chin, and they might have a sweepstakes, which is no points are given for that. It's just honor. It's like, these are usually under a year or under 12 to 18, the sweepstakes class. And sometimes they'll have a breeder or somebody, a judge applicant judging there to do the sweepstakes for the puppies. Great practice. You can get some great ribbons. It can be fun. It can be great fun. And kind of getting your puppy's feet wet for the classes. But specialties, they can have regional specialties, which are they'll say that they'll have a club for the breed, and they'll have their show maybe in conjunction with an all breed show or freestanding. It doesn't matter. But specialties are when you're going to go and see numbers of your breed, and you're going to meet a bigger array of people that have your breed, and you're going to get like you can dig in deeper about knowing about your breed, and what you can meet the players in your breed, whereas at all breeds, that is just that, all breeds. And a lot of times it's fun going to shows with people that have different breeds, because number one, you can be happy for each other and you're not competing. It's not like we both went, I lost, now I'm going to be hating on you for 6 hours back on there, telling you I don't know how you won that. So you can have your friends. You can also learn another breed. You can learn, your friend's breed. Kind of help them out. They help you. They're not in the ring at the same time. That's kind of a great thing. But those breed specific shows, that's like a little college course where you can really deep dive on your breed, and you can see whose dogs are looking that fit your idea, what you like. Then, of course, when they have the breed specific shows, the group shows, they'll be all toys, and which is usually they try to get toy judges who are more knowledgeable about toy dogs. Where the all breed shows, they can get some experts in there, but you might get some judge from another country that and you go, what happened here? But because it's an all breed show, but you might not get you could,
So at an all
but you might
breed
not.
show, can the
It could go
judge
either.
that specializes in sporting group judge a toy dog group?
So, like in other, like so in and this is probably yet another podcast. But your judges oftentimes from out of the country, because the American Kennel Club has a very stringent process. Like I am licensed for all toy dogs, a couple of sporting breeds, some non-sporting breeds, a hound and one terrier. But a lot of the judges in other countries, they will, with the same or less length of time than I have in the sport, they would be licensed for all breeds of dogs. And so, and when they come into our country, well, they're licensed for there, they get hits reciprocal. So you at the all breed shows, you can get degrees of knowledge on your breed. You might have some, I'm sure you're going to get a certain degree, but you might, at the specialties, those are people who really know your breed. And that's usually a little deep. Those are, it's like in like some of the magazines or the ads, they'll say breeder judge or toy specialist, that kind of thing. It's like, that means like, well, we want under someone who knows more about it, or kind of like that kind of a thing. But most all the groups have that, the sporting or terrier or toy, they'll have like a group show, and it'll be just those breeds, or the regional show. But once a year, there will be a national specialty hosted by the parent club. And the parent club will have, like, they'll have, and that's usually, it's quite an honor to get to judge a national specialty. You have to be kind of highly, it's like voted on by the membership of the club. And you get to, like, this January, I got to judge at the national specialty for Cocker Spaniels. Super proud. But it's, that's the best of the best. And so that was by far the deepest quality entry of Cockers I've judged since I've been judging, because it's like really nice dogs. And people come far and wide for that. And new people should always, if they get a chance to go, that's a great place. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to see a lot. You're going to come away with different attitudes. Go, oh, okay, because this might be okay for here for this little Albury show, but go into here, that's a whole nother arena, whole nother quality of animal. That kind of a thing. So it's there's all of those are in there, and then if your dog is your dog might qualify to compete at Westminster. That's a invitation show. That's one of the only ones like that. But you could, the Royal Canin Eukanuba, the AKC show. That's one where that could be a qualifying show for the NOHS. uh, you know but those are higher competition venues. It's kind of like the Super Bowl, whether you qualify for that. But all different levels you can work towards, and it's a starting point. Get to the shows, get the idea, get the feel for it, decide what you like, and kind of keep moving towards that
And you
direction.
can combine a lot of those into one. And so that's kind of where I wanted to wrap up with is how do you find your best bang for your buck? And, being up here in South Dakota, we have one show a year in our town, as you know, and everything else, you're traveling a minimum of 3.5 to 4 hours to get to the next show. So I always look for places that if I'm going to travel and I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to try to get the best bang for my buck out of it. So if I'm driving 8 hours for a Saturday and Sunday show, define show and what you can get out of that, because a lot of times there can be two shows in one day. So you could show, at 9 in the morning, then you could show at 2 in the afternoon again, and be in two different shows. So it's two different registration fees. It's two different opportunities to show your dog, two different opportunities to go to win your breed, go best in show. So I always try to find a location that I want to go to that has as many as possible. For example, Minneapolis, St. Paul, when I went there in January, you had the it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show, but you had two shows Friday. One was ran by like the St. Paul Kennel Club or something like that. The next show was run by the Paul Toy Club. So it was just a toy group. And so when you can mix and match those types of things, your travel fees are all the same no matter what. So enter as many shows as you can be and just try to find the locations that you can do that in. If you're going to travel 5 hours to hit what you're going to show once on Saturday, once on Sunday, you might as well be in a show in the afternoon. Do you see is there a lot of shows that collaborate like that where they can have multiple shows in an actual day? Or is it more common just show once a day throughout the country? What do you see mostly?
So that's a very good question. Very, very good question. Because, like, in 2000, a short 25 years ago, I was showing a dog, and I showed him as a special, as a champion, and I showed him 100 times that year. And it was almost exclusively 2-day shows. There was maybe a three, maybe one or two 4-day shows, but almost all of them were 2-day shows. And it took me all year. to amass that 100 shows. And that a side note is why I left South Dakota, is because I just did not want to hitch up the team and head across on the Iditarod across the frozen tundra to try to travel. But you brave souls have stayed there. Um, but now with the economy and the numbers of events, because there just weren't as many shows, and so some of the shows that we went best in show at were 2,500 dog shows, which kind of the size of the shows right after COVID, those first ones when no one had got to go to a show for a while, those were huge shows. Anytime they're going to have like 600 or less dogs at a show, they might go ahead and do 2 shows in a day. Bang for the buck. You can go, you can get more, you can do more shows. And that's one thing. It's like when you're reading your premium list and you're making your plans, you can kind of target. It's like, I need majors, I need singles, I need this might be a cheaper place for me to go, more economical. All of those things you can plan out. You can kind of figure your war room and your budget and see how you want to go about it. But the multiple shows in a day thing, that's new, very cool. It gives you multiple chances to win, multiple experiences. One thing I would say, that when you do that and you're going to show your dog hard like that, rest them up, have them in tip-top shape, have your pit crew there, do your downtime. I bring covers, I rest them in between, especially when you have little dogs, you kind of might even feed them a little something, do something to kind of keep their stamina and their blood sugar up, because, know that you're competing twice in one day, so that all of that kind of plan that out a little bit. Pick and choose. Like, you think, oh, this one's green, I don't know if I want to do that, how many times it will hold up showing in one day, that kind of thing. So you can and you can also read the premium list, because it has the judges in there. Go, oh, well, I'm going to show to that person. I think I'm going to go take a long lunch and skip that one. You can do that. And that, as you go along, you'll figure out, I like showing to this person. They even have, like, lists on there, like the judge's report card and this and that. And they can go on there, you can ask a question about a judge. Does this judge like puppies? And so, what's this judge like to show to, that kind of thing. Find out, it's kind of like reviews, Yes, the judges hate it. Who wants to be reviewed? It sucks, truth hurts, and, but it's good feedback. It's feedback, just take it, look, go with it. But the more you can research that, the more you can make good choices as to where you want to go, who you want to show to, and pick your event, and then where you can maximize your bang for the buck. It's like, or you can get the best prices on lodging, the best prices on that, and make it really count. Unless you got a lot of money and a lot of free time, well, then do it
I
all.
probably should have prefaced that with, I try to get the best bang for the buck, but you also have to know your dogs and your breed, and keep in mind that this isn't always just about winning ribbons and awards. Our dogs need to be having fun while they're doing this too. So if you're wearing your dog
Absolutely.
out throughout the day, maybe not the best decision. Like I said earlier, I have a dog that has unlimited energy. I can show her 5 times a day. She wouldn't care. She'd be ecstatic to be in
There
the
you go.
ring and getting attention. I have another dog that
You're
I
like,
would
do
debate even
anything.
entering twice a day because he's so dang lazy. That's like trying to get him up for one show is enough, So, and then there's the aspect of grooming. What does your dog need to be groomed right before it goes in the ring? Well, if so, and it can't keep a groom up for 5 hours, doing 2 shows in one day might be a little hard for you and the dog.
But the thing is, with the multiple shows in a day, you have options and you can make choices. And the other thing is, it's like, when we're with our pit crew and stuff, traveling. I mean, the show, of course, is our drug. It's why we're doing it. But there's other stuff to do too. And so that's why I like 4 to 6. Do your puppies first thing in the morning, because used to be they'd have like matches at the shows at the end of the show. It's like, oh, let's go to dinner. Been up since 5. Let's stick a fork in today and have it be over. That kind of thing. Make it fun for everybody along with. Don't make it into like the last ride of the Donner Party and who's going to survive. You don't have to pick and choose. You can enter some of the dogs in this part. You don't have to enter everybody and everything, and kind of make a plan with that. The more you go, the more you know. You'll figure out how you want to do it, and you'll especially like the shows and the clubs that they're more exhibitor user friendly, like nicer parking, easier to get in and out of. All of that, kind of comes into play. Like some of the bigger shows, maybe they have majors, but maybe they're going to charge you, 15, $20 a day for parking. Like the show I was at last weekend. Lovely, Claremore, Oklahoma. Great show. Super nice people. Free parking. Cool little town. All that. So I mean, you can kind of pick and choose how you want to go do it. I mean, it's just kind of see what you're interested in, see what the dogs you have. It's like if you have a bunch of young puppies, you might want to go somewhere that just might be easy and fun, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and really the key is just finding the information, and don't be afraid to ask people. Ask people that you know. You can always go into our Facebook group, the TAC Box Podcast. You can ask questions in there. We're more than happy to answer them or to make a
Absolutely.
podcast episode about it. We do have a couple suggestions in there about the Japanese chin and judging that, and I think we're going to get a lot of those questions because if you don't know, Dale's about the biggest Japanese chin breeder in the country, as well as specializing in toy group breeding or judging. So he's going to get a lot of Japanese chin questions, and that's fantastic.
So,
So there'll be some episodes about that, and we're both headed to the Japanese chin specialty and national next week, where we'll be doing some video stuff there. I'll be next week's podcast will be coming. I'll be in North Carolina live for the podcast. I'll be doing it from my Airbnb, so that'll be fun.
so
Um, but everybody, make sure that you check out the podcast on whatever network that you like to listen to your podcast from. We're on Spotify, we're on Amazon, we're on YouTube Music, we're on Apple Music, we're on YouTube with video if you like to see our smiling faces, Buzzsprout, all the major podcast areas. We upload videos, little short clips of our podcast as well on our Facebook, as well as YouTube. So make sure that you do us a solid and subscribe and listen to it however you can. We really appreciate it. And don't forget to head on over to our Facebook page where you can ask questions and come up with ideas for future shows. You also can go to our website. And on our website, you can text us. So you can ask a question, you can give suggestions, and we will get those messages right on our website. Can't guarantee we'll answer them very promptly because it doesn't text us to our phone. It says text message, but it doesn't go to our phone. It goes to our website, so we will answer as best as we can. So that wraps it up for today. We appreciate each and every one of you. Dale, any last words?
hey, y'all enjoy your dogs. We'll see you at the
All right,
shows.
everybody, have a great day. We will talk to you later. Bye bye now.